Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an episode of Mosquito Bites Live. It has been quite a while since we've done a live here on SGV Mosquito, but a lot has been going on, so we're excited to bring back Mosquito Bites Live just in time for National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. I hope everyone knows that. Mosquito Control Awareness Week started yesterday on Sunday and runs all the way through Saturday. So this week is National Mosquito Control Awareness Week, and I'm super excited to bring back our series of Instagram Lives that we do where we have great, interesting conversations with some other vector control people. And today is a very exciting episode on the future of mosquito control, once again in honor of National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. Today I have Orange County Vector Control who will be joining me in just a little bit. But I want to give a brief background of SGV Mosquito and what we've been doing and what we've been up to since the last time we've seen you. So again, this is Mosquito Bites Live, our Instagram live series where we talk about all things mosquitoes, and we are doing this one in honor of National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. Today I'll be having Orange County Vector Control District join me in just a little bit, and I'm excited to bring back our series of Mosquito Bites Live. Here in the San Gabriel Valley, we've been very busy as the mosquito season starts to get underway. We have a very busy season ahead of us. We've had a lot of rainfall, and we anticipate more mosquitoes this year, and we are ready to work with our residents and work with many people in our communities to make sure we're protecting ourselves from mosquitoes and any vector-borne diseases we might be identifying. So again, this is Mosquito Bites Live, our series hosted by SGV Mosquito, and I see that Orange County has joined us, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you into the conversation here. Today joined by Orange County Vector Control District, and we'll be talking about the future of vector control and some things that you might have been hearing on the news or different things like that as far as mosquito control and new innovations that's been going on, how we are tackling those, how we are trying to control the Aedes mosquito population, which brings us a lot of bite pressure in our communities. And again, overall, just emphasizing that residents are tipping out stagnant water, tossing unused containers, and making sure that we're protecting ourselves with proper mosquito repellent. So making sure we're using the right mosquito repellents out there. So Orange County, I sent you the invite. Hopefully you're able to accept it. Just sent it again there. And again, this is our Mosquito Bites Live series that we host where we talk with other vector control agencies about all things mosquito. I'm going to go ahead and invite you one more time, Orange County. If you can't accept, oh, there we go. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Pablo, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Great. Well, welcome to Mosquito Bites Live. Very excited to have you on board with us today to talk about, of course, all things mosquitoes. Today's topic is the future of mosquito control, something that, mosquito control continues to change and evolve. And we try different and innovative ways to tackle the mosquito problems in our communities. So I want to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Who you are, Brian, and where you're coming from OC Vector Control.
Sure. I'm Brian Brandon. Hi, everybody. I'm the Public Information Officer for Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District. We're located here in Garden Grove, California, but we service all of Orange County. And the thing about vector control districts is we take just a little bit of your property tax, but we're free. So if you are having mosquito problems, please call us. I recommend you call us early because we do tend to get busy when mosquito season really starts to hit. So if you're seeing any kind of mosquitoes or larvae around your house, we really want to help you out. But one of the best things we do, one of the most effective things is what Pablo's doing here, is help educate people about what you can do to prevent mosquitoes from being around your house. And it's as simple as just dumping standing water. But I think, as you'll find out as when we talk with these new Aedes aegypti ankle biters, they're pretty good at finding what we call cryptic sources, which are places that we wouldn't necessarily think of.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. And one thing that we always like to emphasize too with other vector control agencies, especially to our residents, is although we are different agencies, we do provide very much of the same resources and how we can help our communities. Yes, we are different names, but we all work very much together. We know we share many borders together, and mosquitoes aren't going to look at LA County or Orange County any different. They are out there, and we're doing our best to work with residents in our community and then work with our fellow vector control districts on how we can best manage the mosquito populations. So I want to jump into our conversation today. So today the topic is the future of mosquito control. And the first question I have, Brian, is climate change continues to impact the globe. How have we seen climate change impact mosquito control?
Well, that's a great question. Mosquitoes are cold-blooded animals, so they're like snakes, right? So when it's cold, they just kind of shut down, right? The colder it is, the less active they are. But then on the other side, the warmer it is, the more active they are, the more they're going to be out there flying around, biting us, and the quicker their turnaround, their life cycle is, when the more babies they're going to make more often, right? The more pupae and larvae that they're going to lay to grow up into adult mosquitoes. So it's scary, Climate change, the Earth getting hotter means we're going to be dealing with more of a mosquito problem unless we can really get a handle on it, which is, why we work together with San Gabriel and all the other mosquito and vector control districts to come up with stuff that works, so that we're doing it together and we're learning from each other.
Great, that's a very good point. And I do like how you mentioned that mosquitoes are very susceptible to the temperature and our climate, because that is something that we continue to see, especially as we get more drastic weather in our communities. For example, we had heavy rain, then we get huge amounts of drought. So that's something that definitely affects the mosquito population and how we mitigate mosquitoes in our areas. And something we continue to see as well, being in Southern California, is mosquitoes. It's no longer just the season. Mosquitoes, we're experiencing them all year round. Even in the wintertime, we still see mosquito activity. Mosquito control is actively in our communities in the wintertime, in the fall, and especially in the summer and in the springtime. So that's something we want to emphasize people, that it's not just a summer problem. Mosquitoes are a problem we're constantly dealing with all year round. And we as Vector Control are doing something all throughout the year to help our communities, and especially as climate continues to change, we're going to see those changes. We're going to see invasive mosquitoes in areas that we haven't seen them before, and we're going to see more activity throughout the year. I see a lot of people are joining us, and thank you for the questions you might put in. I see a question about, is OC doing the thing LA is in sterilization? That's a very good point. And that will actually lead me to my next question. If you have anything else to add about climate change, Brian?
Oh, I was just going to say that, it's a blessing and a curse to live here in California. If we had freezing cold, if we had snow, maybe mosquitoes would go away for that period. But you're right, Pablo, they're here year round, and the warmer it gets, the more active they're going to be.
Definitely. And so that now brings me to my next question, which I saw a comment on there earlier, is about Sterile Insect Technique, also known as SIT. It's something we started to hear a lot more about in the past few years, and it's something new to vector control. So what is it, Brian? What is SIT?
Right. So another great question. Here's the thing. SIT is a proven technique. Anyone who's driven into California has been stopped at the border, and they say, do you have any fruits or vegetables, right? And the reason they ask about the fruits or vegetables is because of the Mediterranean fruit fly, which is a huge problem, or used to be a huge problem for agriculture, which is a big economic boon to the state, right? So that's something they want to take care of. And they've been doing the sterile insect technique for the Mediterranean fruit fly for decades, like 20, 30 years. And what the technique is and what they do with the flies, and we went there and we observed, how they're doing it, right? So um, the females are a little larger than the males, right? So we can separate them out by basically having a kind of a V type of thing, right? Where the smaller, the bigger ones get caught up here and the smaller ones come out, right? So that's, well, the first thing we do is we want to make sure that we have a strain of mosquitoes that's local to the area, right? We don't want some outside gang of mosquitoes coming into the other mosquitoes' turf, and actually that would be kind of cool if they got in turf war. But for our purposes, that's not what we're trying to do. We want them to kind of fit in, okay? And you'll see why. So we separate out the males, and then we'll chill them so that they're just a little bit lethargic, right? So they're not moving around so much. And what they do out of they do the Mediterranean fruit flies out of Los Alamitos at the Joint Forces Training Base. They actually dropped the sterilized fruit flies from planes. So they've been doing it in Riverside, San Gabriel, Orange County, Los Angeles County, all around for literally decades. And so what's the thing we have to do before we get on an airplane these days? Right? We got to go through TSA, right? We get x-rayed, right? So, hey, the mosquitoes got to go through mosquito TSA. We put them through a little x-ray machine, and we give them just enough x-ray to sterilize those males, right?
Right.
And so then we sterilize a bunch of them. We don't freeze them because we don't want them to die, but we chill them, right? And then we compact them. And this is same thing whether I'm talking about flies or mosquitoes. Well, difference is we don't fly them in planes, but we still x-ray them. But what they've been doing with the flies is they would drop them from a plane, and that's actually been effective to take care of the fruit flies. But so we're not really that set up. So we've been partnering with Greater LA, and we're doing a test run. Mission Viejo has a neighborhood that has a terrible, terrible mosquito problem. So we're first just testing out, okay, if we freeze them or chill them and then let them loose, are they going to survive, right? How far are they going to fly? How long are they going to be alive? So we dusted them with some bright colors and just let them loose, and just want to know what they're going to do. So we're still here in Orange County. We're still kind of in the testing phase and still kind of figuring out, what works and stuff. But eventually, the plan is that we will release sterilized males in an area that has a mosquito problem, and they will outcompete the non-sterilized males in mating with the females, and no mosquito larvae, no pupae, no larvae, nothing to grow into adult mosquitoes.
Great, and you touched on a lot of good points there, Brian. When it comes to SIT, the first one I really want to highlight is that SIT is something that has been used in the Mediterranean fruit flies since the 1950s. It's technology that has been around for a long time, and one thing we want to emphasize is that it's brand new to mosquito control. So when it comes to SIT to mosquitoes, it's completely brand new. But the technology itself has been around for a very good numbers of years and has been going on for a number of years and has shown to be very successful. So we're hoping to replicate that in mosquitoes and hopefully give us another tool in our toolbox to help manage the mosquito problems that we're experiencing in our area, specifically with Aedes mosquitoes, since we do receive so much bite pressure from mosquitoes. And another thing you mentioned are X-ray or aerated male mosquitoes. One thing that we want to emphasize is when it comes to these SIT releases, they are only male mosquitoes. So we're not really, hopefully everyone does know and follows all of our tips that we put out there that only female mosquitoes bite, male mosquitoes do not bite. So when we are releasing these mosquitoes, we're not releasing more biting mosquitoes, we're just releasing mosquitoes in general. Um, and there are three different types of sterile insect techniques out there. And please be sure to visit our websites. We have information on our website at SGB Mosquito, and I know you do as well, Brian, on Orange County. So please make sure you visit that to understand more about the three different types of SATs that are out there, because they can be a little complicated to understand, and we hope and we want people to educate themselves and understand how they work and the three different types that are out there. And one thing that I want to make clear as well, that here at the Sangre Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District, we currently are not doing any releases or SAT. We fully support our friends at Orange County and Greater Los Angeles and watching how they are doing these test trials at the time being. But I know, Brian, right now you guys are not doing any releases. You're waiting at least some time until you will do those as well, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're looking at a possible fall release, a possible next year late spring release to actual operationalize the release of sterile male mosquitoes. And yeah, great point. The males don't bite, but hopefully by releasing sterilized males, they're going to reduce the ones that do. And oh, good question. Why wait? Well, couple reasons. Thank you for that question. We want to make sure we do it right. We're building it up, and it's expensive too. It is an expensive process, which is why we're just doing it in one small area now. We want to just make sure that the science of it that works, and that they're going to go where we want them to and do what we want them to do. But it's definitely a pilot project to just see how it works, see how well it works. Is it worth the investment, right? But yeah, I think we'll talk about some other forms of mosquito control. But again, mosquito control is a shared responsibility. It's something we all have to work on together. The vector control districts, we're here. You need us, we'll come out. There may be a bit of a backlog depending on how busy we are. But I mean, the best thing you can do is just know where to look around your house and educate your neighbors too. Because like you said, Pablo, the mosquitoes aren't going to pay attention to county lines, and they're certainly not going to pay attention to fence lines either, right? So your house may be totally great. Your next door neighbor may be great, but the guy over the back fence could have a just trash collection in his backyard that's collecting all kinds of stagnant water and probably rats and all kinds of good stuff. And for the vectors, it's good. But yeah, so we all got to work together, and that's the challenge. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about Aedes, and I'll explain why that's a challenge too.
Yes, definitely. And we understand SAT, Sterile Insect Technique. It is complicated. It is a very new thing, and we want people to know what's going on. So again, we encourage you, if you have more questions, visit our websites to find out more, and you can always reach out to our communications departments to learn more about SAT, and as well as what Greater Los Angeles is doing with their SAT, because we are working with them as well to see how their pilot program is going. So I want to move on to our next question is Aedes mosquitoes. I want to bring it back to Aedes mosquitoes specifically because it's something we are definitely feeling their bite pressure more and more every year. They're also known as ankle biters. People might know them more as that. Why are they such a challenge, Brian? Why are Aedes mosquitoes such a nuisance?
Well, oh, sorry. It's my wife. Honey, I'll call. So here's the thing. Mosquitoes have been around since the dinosaurs, okay? And we know what happened to the dinosaurs, right? But ever since then, evolution. Mosquitoes have been getting better and better at what they do, right? And what they do is the females need blood so that their offspring, can become adults. And they get that blood depending on the mosquito, some from birds. But Aedes get their blood. They prefer us. They actually prefer us. The Culex species, they prefer birds, and that's why with West Nile we want to know if there's dead birds somewhere so we can test those birds, because the Culex will bite somebody will bite a bird and they can't find any more birds, and that bird just happened to have West Nile, then they bite me. Guess what? Now I have West Nile. So, but with Aedes, they're able to transmit disease from one person to another person. So, for instance, one of the big fears is dengue, right? And countries and locations where dengue is prevalent, it is the number one cause of illness in that area, right? So we really want to be careful of that. When people travel to these areas, right, they can get bit by a mosquito and come back home and they don't feel well. They go to a doctor, they can't figure it out. Finally, oh, you have dengue, right? So then we'll get a call, and we call that a travel acquired case of dengue, right? I traveled somewhere, I got bit, I came home. And then we'll make sure there's no mosquitoes around their house, right? We'll inspect their property and look around to see if there's any Aedes. If there are, we will treat, right? Because what we don't want to do, again, is to have that mosquito bite that person and then bite someone else. Then you have local transmission, right? And that one mosquito can bite 3 or 4 other people and spread that disease to that 3 or 4 other. Then one of those people gets bit, and right, it can just spread out. We do not want that to happen. We're very concerned about that. Puerto Rico is having a big problem with that right now. Last year, we did have 2 cases of locally transmitted dengue. We had one in Pasadena, and we had one just north of Orange County, like just on the border in Long Beach. So this is a big concern. And so this is why I say, mosquito control is a shared responsibility. We all really have to work together. But Aedes mosquitoes, they're not like the Culex where they're looking for big areas of water. They can reproduce in a bottle cap, a plastic water bottle cap full of water. So that little amount of water is enough to breed mosquitoes, right? If you have just a Fritos bag in your backyard, right, and the sprinkler comes on, and some water gets in the little creases of that Fritos bag, and it sits there long enough, mosquitoes can breed in there. They can breed in plant saucers is a huge thing that people don't really think about, right? I don't want to get my nice table water stained, so I put a saucer under it. I put a little too much water in the plant, water sits in the saucer, mosquitoes find it, boom. Aedes can breed indoors and outdoors, right? So they can come in through a hole in your screen. They could come in on your shoulder, right? And if you have, say you have a lucky bamboo, right? That's or some kind of rooted plant in water. That water is just sitting there. The mosquito's going to love that, right? So what you can do, and that is you can either clean that water out every week, right? Or you could put something like marbles or rocks in there so that the water can still be there, but the mosquitoes can't get down. And then we were talking about cryptic sources, right? Aedes are big on the cryptic sources, that the places that we wouldn't even think to look, right? And again, that's where OC Vector and San Gabriel Mosquito and Vector Control, that's where our expertise comes in, because we have technicians who go out every day, right? They know to look in the yard drains, right? Like you may not think that little drain there can hold mosquitoes, but yeah, if there's just a little bit of water in there, again, just a bottle cap full of water, they can fly into that drain, lay their eggs, and come back, and you don't know where they came from, just it's so if you just think about how little water a bottle cap can hold, right? It could be everywhere. So that's where, and if we come out, our inspectors are really helpful, right? We just want to show you what you can do, right? You teach a person to fish, and they can fish for a lifetime. And so but yeah, that's Aedes are a challenge, and the other thing is they lay their eggs just above the water line of containers, right? So like say my nice little glass of water here. Now, if the water's clean, you would drink it, the mosquitoes don't want it, right? If it looks like my coffee cup, then it was water. They would probably, but they'll lay some of their eggs in the water, and then they'll lay some of them right above the water line, so that when we have more rain or for whatever reason that water level rises, then you're going to have, a hatch off of mosquitoes, right? Last year we did have a lot of Aedes here in Southern California, and guess what? There's probably billions of those eggs out there right now, right, from last year. One study showed that they can survive for 2 years,
Right.
right? And they look like little, real small pieces of black rice, right? And you'll see them right above the water line. And if you got to kind of scrub them off, maybe get a Brillo pad or some steel wool or something, and that's what you need to do to get rid of them. So it's just, mosquito control is complicated. Aedes have raised it, to a quantum level of complication.
Right. And you touched on a lot of good points there, Brian, when it comes to Aedes mosquitoes, that they've been around for a long, long time. And I always like to say that, mosquitoes have been around since the Jurassic era, and mosquitoes do what they do best, and that's essentially survive. And Aedes mosquitoes have proven that time and time again. They're far more aggressive than our common mosquitoes. Like you mentioned, they like to bite us humans more than anything else, so yay for us. And they also bite during the day. When are we most active? And that's right in the middle of the day. I know I've been a victim of, just getting out of my car and going to my front door, and I got bit by a mosquito. And, it's little moments like that where you don't think like, oh, I should probably using repellent. It's so quick and something so simple like that. But yeah, they are very aggressive mosquitoes. And we do continue to feel their biting pressure. And I like how you continue to mention, Brian, that it is a shared responsibility when it comes to mosquito control. We're not going to just go out and aimlessly spray your yard or anything like that. We want to help educate our residents so that we don't have to continue coming back and put a Band-Aid on the situation. We want to resolve that situation. If there is that stagnant water somewhere, we want to be able to find it so that you don't have this vicious cycle of mosquitoes continuing to grow in your neighborhood or in your communities and continue to affect any things that you might be having when you're outdoors. So again, this is Mosquito Bites Live, and we've been talking about the future of mosquito control. We've touched on a lot of really good topics today in our conversation here with Orange County Vector Control. Brian, who's our PIO, who's joined me today. We talked about climate change and how that has affected mosquito control. We talked about Sterile Insect Technique, SIT, something we've been hearing more and more about, and how it's a new tool in our toolbox of how we can help manage the mosquito population. And we just finished talking about Aedes mosquitoes in general and why they're such a nuisance to us. So my last question is a fun question, Brian, so hopefully it's not too difficult for you. So what's the most surprising or weirdest fact you've learned about mosquitoes in your time in vector control?
Well, I was going to say that they've been around since the dinosaurs, but I already said that. So I will say this. The male mosquitoes are like a lot of my friends, believe it or not. Remember, they don't bite, but they like to, what they do is they drink nectar. A lot of my friends drink nectar, juice I'm talking about, orange juice. Uh, but they also, their antenna is very bushy. So if you're looking at a mosquito under a microscope and it looks like they have kind of a beard on their antenna, then that's the male, kind of like Pablo, but
Right. And I think,
So,
I think that's a good point because a lot of people ask us, how can you tell the difference between male and female mosquitoes? And I completely understand. For somebody who doesn't know, it is a weird thing to try to identify, a male versus a female. But I know just in my time in vector control, able to see when, and if I see those furry antennae, like you said, their beard, I know right away that that's a male mosquito.
it makes it easy to remember. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So again, this has been Mosquito Bites Live. We did this in honor of National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. That's going on this week. It started on Sunday and it's running all the way through Saturday. So keep an eye out for all the content and all the great tips that are being posted by all our other fellow vector control districts out there nationwide. This is a national campaign, so hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of mosquito content, not in your own neighborhood, but hopefully just on your phone for the time being. Brian, is there any closing remarks you want to add before we end here?
Well, we're here to help the public, right? You did mention, and I want to hit this too if I can. It is in our mission statement to be environmentally conscious and be environmentally safe, right? The easiest way to control mosquitoes is to dump out the standing water. That gets rid of the problem 100%. If you want to pay someone to come spray your house, well, okay, they're going to spray your backyard or whatever, but if there's still standing water, you're going to have adults coming back as soon as those larvae, become adults. And then you're just going to spray again, and they're going to build up resistance. So we don't.
Did I lose your audio there, Brian?
How about now? You got me?
There we go. I got you.
Okay, but yeah, it's the safest, most environmentally friendly thing you can do is take that standing water and water your plants, right? And if we do have to come out there, we're going to use the least invasive method to control the mosquitoes. But we're only going to do it if there's a abundance of mosquitoes and the possibility that they can spread disease if there is disease. So we're going to save those big guns for that, right? So again, that's just a big reason why we all have to work together.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Brian. And we see Florida. Welcome to Mosquito Bites Live. Thank you for joining us. We know Florida has their own mosquito problems that we work with together as well. So this has been Mosquito Bites Live in honor of National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks, Pablo.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.